Welcome back to Crash Bandicoot Warped.
Well done, children. By defeating Tiny...
Excuse me, Crash is 30.
Next time travel area.
Yeah, but he's stuck at grade 1.
To the center and save your progress.
Come see me in about 8 years when you finish middle school.
See that the gate to the second time travel area is now open.
That's a bit of artifact dialogue from back when the giant wall in the middle of the time twister was where you saved your game. However, if we go over there now... What's Coco doing?
Playing old versions of Crash Bandicoot, apparently.
I mentioned before that there was a canonical reason for why Coco is suddenly available to play in Crash 1 and 2. She's using the time twister to help out her little brother. Or big brother, sorry.
Aww.
It's a very heartwarming explanation that also raises more questions than it answers, but I'm okay with it. I mean, we don't play Crash Bandicoot for the intricately plotted storylines.
I think that's true of everyone, but it's nice that they wove it all together.
Why must you continue to be a thorn in our side?
Who? What? Where was I? Oh, Tiny was a good fellow. He hated everyone and everything, but a good heart nonetheless. Please be more reasonable with my minions next time.
Now, keep in mind that in the original, it was Clancy Brown and Clancy Brown. Anyway, yeah, there are... In the previous games, there were usually a maximum of 2, maybe 3 levels for each area, but there are fewer areas, or fewer themes, I guess. Also, that's Coco's animation for the super body slam, which I like a lot. And this is one of the new lab assistants, a wizard that shoots out dangerous balls of energy. And this is something you definitely couldn't do in the original.
Physics his wand and his hat around.
Exactly.
Yeah. Boy, that hat stays around for a while.
Yeah, it basically stays around until you jump on it, I think. There might be another timer involved as well. We do not advocate for the destruction of goats in real life. It's just a video game, people. Let's see that animation again. Oh, yeah, that's a good animation.
Whatever will you do with 24 lives?
I don't know. Waste them, I guess.
You have to get those death animations somehow.
Speaking of the old sound effects that I wish were in the Sane Trilogy, there was a very specific sound for the night lab assistants when they had their swords stuck in the ground or something like something like that.
Straining to pull it out, yeah.
Well, I mean, they were straining to pull it out, but then they had to lower it for the age rating.
Oh.
Hey, invincibility for the first time.
Woo!
I seem to remember... Oh, yeah, by the way, the wizards don't do anything when you're invincible, which I think is pretty funny. This is definitely one of the trying to trick you bonus rounds. There are a lot of those in Crash 4, which I've been playing a lot of recently. Yeah, I mean they're not as severe here. They're usually better telegraphed. For example, once I'm done with all these boxes, you don't want to hit that exclamation mark crate because there's a box over here. Gotta jump on that first.
Aha.
Because that makes a bridge, and then you can't get to the box anymore.
So deceptively simple puzzle level.
Yeah. And once we get more moves from defeating more bosses, there's also another emphasis on teaching you about what those moves do. Now, unfortunately, I was hoping to end this section here with something very satisfying, which is spinning the Knight Lava Assistant into the nitro boxes at the end. I will show that off later.
It just didn't happen in this take.
No. And next up, we will see one of the new areas. As soon as Coco is done with her magic tricks, turning her laptop into a gem. I tricked you. We're actually playing Kingdom Hearts. This is Agrabah.
Oh no. Oh no.
And I love the lab assistants are very committed to staying in character. Now, I will say that I've made fun of Crash Bandicoot fans getting upset by the music. And for the most part, I stand by those comments. However, I will make the exception here that the drums and the percussion are very, very quiet in the mix, and it takes away from a lot of the energy from the original music. This enemy has multiple phases, and you can't actually get hurt by the monkey in its second phase once it has the pot on its head. But it will push you back, and the game loves to put hazards right next to the monkeys.
Oh. Yeah. That's devious.
Yeah, one thing I didn't get to show off here, unfortunately, is that you get a significant speed boost when you have invincibility when you're hanging here, which I think I managed to show it off in a later video. However, Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex has an absolutely pathetic animation for these climbing sections, where it's like a third of the speed of this one. It's really bad.
That's kind of chuffy. Ooh.
Yeah, those are the slot crates. This is another area that has a bunch of puzzle stuff to it. Bonus stages get pretty devious, especially if this is the one I think it is. Yes, it is. So this one switches to a TNT crate, which you then get a springboard. That one requires pretty precise timing.
I can't see a kid playing this game and not getting frustrated.
Oh,
At
yeah,
least a little. Yeah.
I remember certainly when I was a kid, that took me a while. I remember having a strategy guide for Crash 2, but not for the third one. I had to figure most of that by myself, or by going on like the primitive online forums.
Early game facts.
Yeah. Anyway, there's these genies as well, which again, the lab assistants are just method actors. I'm sure they developed actual magic powers, having spent enough time as a genie in this area. And that's a perfect example of how the game likes to use the monkeys to get you to go, like, to fall off a ledge or into a fire pit or something.
Loving the variety so far.
Well, you know what? I say that we've had too much variety. I think that after we're done here, let's go back to an older level. Because, I mean, why not?
Okay.
I mean, this game does try to get as much replay value out of itself as it can.
Well, games are expensive and economy. Let's be honest.
We've had too much fun over here. Let's go back to the old level and replay Toad Village and see what happens there. Maybe there's something we missed.
Crash, Coco. If you have already retrieved a levels crystal, then you will find a floating clock when you enter for the second time. This floating clock activates time trial mode. Grab it, and the clock will start ticking. Race for the end to get the best time, but beware, some elements will change.
Oh, interesting.
I love the time trial mode in Crash Bandicoot Warped, and most people do. In fact, it got backported into the original games. And one of the initial cool things is that, first of all, the clock is a physical thing you have to touch, and all the enemies run on global cycles, so if you time it right, you can get like the best arrangement of enemies. There's also these yellow boxes. So that was a 2 box, and that means when I break it, the clock will stop for 2 seconds. You get 1, 2, or 3, depending on the box.
Huh.
And yes, those numbers do stack. So you can have very lengthy sections where if you break boxes in the right order, the clock will basically be stopped for like 30 to 45 seconds at a time.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I wish more games did that. Anyway, when you complete a time trial, you get a relic. You get either a sapphire, gold, or platinum relic, depending on your time. It is pretty difficult to get the platinum relics without the speed shoes, which was the item we got at the end of Crash 2, because they retroactively included that.
Right.
Anyway, some bonus content.
Got him!
It's so satisfying every time. And here's the death animation for the wizard. And thankfully, they didn't wimp out on any of Coco's animations. She has more or less the same animations for most of them. So, now we gotta talk about the Japanese version of Crash Bandicoot 3.
Yay.
Or as it's known in Japan, Crash Bandicoot 3, Let's Travel Around the World.
That can't be a real thing.
It is.
Oh my god.
However, there is more than just a new name, because after this, it gets a brand new title screen. And Crash, after he does the Crash dance, he actually has some unique dancing animations that don't show up anywhere else in the series, really.
Alright. The Japanese are really obsessed with that song.
And just with Crash dancing in general. It's great. And just in case you wanted to see what some of the cutscenes looked like in the original with Japanese voice acting. Naughty Dog actually, for both this game and for Crash Bandicoot 2, there were 6 languages for dubs, and they actually bothered to lip sync or have the lip sync match for every single dub. It's crazy.
That's kind of impressive for the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
必要な宝石はもうないではないか。
分かっております、うかうか様。ちょっとしたミスはありましたが。
大きな失敗じゃ。そうは言っても貴様の失敗によって世が自由になったのも事実じゃ。皮肉だがの、もう一度だけチャンスをやろう。この星を征服するためのパワーを集める方法がまだあるのじゃ。今度はわし自らが出る。それでちょちょいのパーじゃ。
That's actually quite cool.
And just like in Crash 2, in the Japanese version, Aku Aku speaks to you.
ハテナの秋葉に乗るとボーナスチャレンジに行けるぞよ。リンゴどっさりウハウハ
Little tutorial text, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And that's not all, because the Japanese version of Crash 3 was one of the first games to support the Pocket Station, which it's kind of like the virtual memory unit on the Sega Dreamcast, where you could download things onto the Pocket Station, mostly like little mini games, and that's what this menu is for. I wasn't able to get any footage of the Pocket Station mini games, but basically they were small like Tamagotchi mini games, sort of. You know, there was one that's like Simon Says, one where with Coco and her jet ski. There's this one I think is like a timing mini game for juggling Wumpa fruit, or apples as they're known in Japanese.
So there's more than one that you can load onto the Pocket Station.
Yeah, there are several. You could also keep your save data in the Pocket Station and transfer it over to like a friend's PlayStation or what have you.
It was really just a memory card, but like some of these apps I remember take massive amount of storage on the thing.
Yeah, like it's again very similar to the VMU for the Dreamcast that came out a couple years later. Yeah, I wish that I knew more about the Pocket Station stuff. I wasn't able to find that much when it came to English language information on the Pocket Station minigames. But maybe someone else could do that work for me. I'm feeling lazy today.
You could import it and you could use it in the States, but it never officially came out here. And importing things was expensive at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't see much about it here. When it was planned for an American release, Final Fantasy VIII included a minigame, but other than that, you just do not see that in titles in the States.
And in the case of Crash 3, it was exclusive to the Japanese version.
Mm-hmm.
All that content was cut out for the PAL and NTSC versions. But I think it's pretty cool. There are still a few more secrets to be uncovered, not necessarily for the Japanese version, but just overall for Crash 3. I like the little details.
It's actually really cool to see the little details.